All right, here we are with showing you exactly what knot you need to tie for each particular line. Now, there are a bunch of different types of fishing line out there. Now, let's just get the basics out of the way. Fluorocarbon, extremely popular. Braided line, very popular. And then basically everything else is kind of categorized as mono, or nylon line, or some type of copolymer blend. All of those lines act similarly. I'll kind of explain that a little bit. But, you know, whether it's Trilene XT, Trilene XL, you know, traditional Stren, or a Sunline Shooter, Defier, it's all of those nylon copolymers all act similar. All the fluorocarbons act similar because of their properties, and then all of the braids act fairly similarly. We'll get into a few of the differences here in a minute, but I'm gonna just show you the basic knots on which ones you want to tie. Now let's start out with ye old spinning reel. You've got a spinning reel. As a pro bass angler, I'm gonna have braided line to a leader. That's a little advanced. We're gonna step back just a touch, and we're gonna go straight braid. Not a bad way to go for beginners. If you're fishing ponds and some basic type stuff like that, you can go straight braid, either like a Sunline X Plasma or whatever you might have. If you're gonna go onto a spinning reel, a 2500 or a 3000 size, is what I would recommend. You wanna start with a 10, 12, or maybe even like a 15 or 16 pound range to start with. You don't want to go too super heavy. 20 pound, it gets to where it really won't handle very well on that spinning reel, and you're going to have casting issues. The same thing goes if you don't want to go braid, then you want to go to more of your traditional monofilament or fluorocarbon route. I'm just going to go straight line. I don't have to fool with leaders. That's a good way to start. You're going to start there with straight, you know, smaller line. No more, I would not go more than 8 pound test. So if you're going to put that on there, we'll use this as a line tie. We'll use this as kind of an easy way to see what line we're doing. If you're going to go fluorocarbon, I would highly suggest anytime you're tying to a lure with fluorocarbon, go with the San Diego Jam. That is part of the uni knot family. It's a very easy knot to tie. I've done a whole video just on that knot. You can see it up here. I will show you the quick version. You will just go straight through the line tie. Then you're gonna double it under, just like that. And you're gonna wrap it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's no matter if you're doing 25 pound test or if you're doing 6 pound test. You're going to go through that bottom loop just like I did there. And then when you go back through the top loop, you want to go back through that top loop so that it parallels that main line. You can see that it parallels the main line as it goes up. That way it's going to tie properly, and it will snug down there and look very neat. Just like, I mean, this is twine. It's not even a fishing line, but that's a San Diego Jam. Again, I put it up there for you guys. It's in my knots selection, but I'm gonna cut that off. That's the fluorocarbon knot, San Diego Jam. If you're gonna tie with nylon and you've got a lure that's small enough to where you can go around it, I would highly recommend the Palomar Knot, which you can also see right here. The Palomar Knot, very basic, very strong, but it only works when you can go all the way around the lure. If you can't go all the way around the lure with mono, I would go with that San Diego Jam. San Diego Jam works great on that type of line. Works just fine. The Palomar is just a little stronger. So here we go. The Palomar is a little different because you're going to take about a foot or so, double it up, go through your line tie, and then you're just going to twist it and tie an overhand knot I mean, that's just a basic overhand knot right there. Then you're going to take the loop part and go around your lure. Goes around your lure, and then you're going to make sure you pull both the tag and the main line kind of tight, and then you're going to pull the main line to cinch it all the way down, and that's a Palomar knot. Again, it's in my knots. You can see even more detailed. That is what you want to use with any kind of nylon line that you can wrap all the way around the lure. And it's any time that you can do the same thing with braid. Now with braided line, you do not want to tie that San Diego jam without using some super glue. Let's say you've got a situation to where you can't really wrap around the lure. You're gonna tie that San Diego jam. You're gonna grab yourself a little bit of Loctite, the gel. I highly recommend the gel, is very good. But you're gonna do that San Diego jam. If you can't wrap all the way around the lure with that Palomar, do that San Diego jam. Touch just the touch of that on there, and it will not slip. It will not slide out on you. The San Diego jam, since it is part of the uni knot family, it does cinch down, and it can slip with the braid under extreme conditions. So if you get out there and you get lucky and you get a lunker on, you don't want to have that sucker pull off. Now, we have bait casters. If you're, fishing a chatterbait, something like that, we kind of went over those options, or you're fishing a jig on a bait caster, those kind of options. But I mentioned earlier, talking about the braid to fluorocarbon, or even braid to mono leader. That's very typical in saltwater, very typical with pro bass fishermen. I'm telling you, FG knot is the way to go, hands down. It is somewhat of a tricky knot, but I will give you the secret right here. The secret to the FG knot is another video I did. Explains it, shows it in extreme detail. I'm not even going to attempt to do this for this shorter video, but look for that secrets of the FG knot. That is, in my opinion, hands down the best braid to fluorocarbon leader that you can tie. A lot of people tie the uni to uni, and the Alberto, and the Royal this and that and whatever. There's a bunch of different ones out there. I'm telling you, FG knot, in my opinion, hands down, nothing even comes close to being as small, as smooth. And the thing I like about the FG knot is that if you tie it wrong in the beginning, you immediately know it. As soon as you're done tying it and you pull on it, it just goes. If you tied it wrong, it just comes right out. One big, huge tip on the FG knot: do not use a line that has a thick coating on it, on a braided line. No thick coated braided lines will work. The Sunline X Plasma ties fantastic knots. The Sigline PE8 ties fantastic knots with the FG. This has a plasma coating on it. It does not have a silicone based. I think some of the other lines out there on the market have that silicone base. So if you feel it and it feels like sticky almost, that's probably a silicone infused braided line. That is not going to hold with the FG knot. You can tie it perfectly correct 100 times in a row and it's not going to work. But that is a little bit more advanced. Now, the one other exception I want to show you real quick is the loop knot. The loop knot is really kind of a specialized knot that you're only going to tie with really smaller lures that you need to impart action on. I use it when I'm tight lining. I use it on a few other smaller kind of jig head conditions. But just to give you the quick rundown, show you the loop knot real quick. Again, I did that video as well. You can see all you're going to do is tie an overhand knot right there. Put the tag in through the lure eye. Then you're going to go back through that knot, if I can get it back through there, back through that knot so that it's parallel with your main line, and then you're going to cinch it all the way, almost all the way down. Then you're going to wrap it 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do 5 or 6 there as well. And then you're going to go back through that same direction and pull it tight, and then you're going to cinch it down just like that, and you know that you tied that loop knot correctly if your tag end points back down towards your lure. That way it'll come through any kind of grass or anything like that. That's just a traditional simple loop knot. Very good. It's not the strongest knot in the world, so I wouldn't be tying that on if I was going to be, you know, flipping and pitching jigs or flipping and pitching a big mini flip around out there, or throwing a chatterbait. I wouldn't be tying that bad boy on. But that's the loop knot. That's the one other one. Again, it's also, the full video is in my my knots playlist on my YouTube page if you want to go over there. But again, that's the different types of knots that you need to tie with the different types of line. Hopefully that will help you out right there. If look down in the description, I'll put the links down there as well to all these knots, and hopefully that will help you be able to tie the right knot for the right selection of baits or line that you have. If you have any questions or you have any other input on there, be sure to always put that down there in the comments. We're all trying to learn together. So thank you guys.